Most men think women are an open book. They believe if she likes you, she'll smile more, laugh harder, or send obvious signals. But here's the harsh truth. Women are often masters of hiding their true feelings. And if you think you can spot it easily, you're already at a disadvantage. What if I told you that a woman can be deeply interested in a man and still act cold, distant, or even uninterested on purpose? That sounds backwards, right? But it's reality. See, female psychology is not built around obvious expression. It's built around protection. From a young age, women are taught not to show their hand too quickly because society often judges them more harshly than men. While men are praised for being direct, women risk being labeled as desperate, clingy, or weak if they expose their emotions too soon. So, what happens? They learn to hide. They learn to mask interest with indifference, curiosity with silence, and attraction with avoidance. This is where most men fail. They assume her distance means rejection when in fact it may mean the exact opposite. A woman who hides her feelings may still want you to notice her, but she won't make it obvious. Instead, she tests. She observes. She wants to see if you can read between the lines. If you're patient enough to notice the small details she reveals without saying a word. In this video, we're going to uncover the hidden signs, things that most men overlook, that reveal when a woman is secretly interested but doesn't want you to know. These are not the cliché tips you've heard before. They're subtle, surprising, and once you see them, you'll never miss them again. 1. She acts cold on purpose. One of the most confusing things for men to understand is when a woman who actually likes them acts cold or distant. Most men assume coldness means rejection, but in female psychology, it often means the exact opposite. Women, sometimes, act cold on purpose as a way of protecting themselves. Why? Because showing too much warmth too soon makes them feel vulnerable. If she opens up and you don't feel the same, she risks embarrassment or even heartbreak. To avoid that, she puts on a mask of indifference. She might ignore your text for hours, keep her responses short, or even act uninterested in a conversation. But behind that coldness, she could be overthinking every word you said, replaying moments in her head, and wondering how you feel about her. This behavior is controversial because men often misread it. Most men are wired to believe interest should be direct. If she likes you, she should show it clearly. But for women, hiding their true emotions can feel safer. It's not about rejecting you, it's about testing whether you're serious, patient, and observant enough to see past the surface. Another reason women act cold is to maintain control. If she comes across as too warm, she might feel like she's giving away her power in the interaction. Acting distant allows her to see if you'll make the effort, if you'll stay consistent, or if you'll give up the moment things get difficult. So, how do you tell the difference between real disinterest and purposeful coldness? The key is in the small details. Watch if her coldness is consistent. If she truly doesn't care, she won't notice you at all. But if she's acting cold while still finding ways to stay around you, watch you, or engage indirectly, chances are she's hiding more than she shows. Imagine you text a woman and she takes 6 hours to reply. Her message is short, maybe just one word. On the surface, that looks cold. But the next day, you catch her bringing up something you said earlier, or she laughs at your joke when you're around. That's not disinterest, it's controlled distance. She's hiding her feelings, but still letting pieces slip through the bar. Lesson here is simple. Don't mistake coldness for rejection too quickly. Sometimes the woman who seems the most distant is the one paying the most attention. 2, she avoids eye contact, then looks again. One of the most misunderstood behaviors in women is the way they use eye contact. Men are often told, if she likes you, she'll stare into your eyes. While that can be true, the more controversial reality is that many women do the exact opposite. They avoid eye contact not because they aren't interested, but because they're trying to hide their interest. Think about it. Eye contact is powerful. Looking into someone's eyes creates a sense of connection that feels almost too revealing. For a woman who's hiding her feelings, keeping her gaze away allows her to protect herself. If she holds eye contact too long, she worries you'll notice her emotions immediately. To avoid that vulnerability, she'll look away quickly. But here's the catch. She won't stop looking completely. Instead, she sneaks glances when she thinks you won't notice. She might turn her head away when you look in her direction. But the moment you're distracted, she's watching. This back and forth, avoiding and then looking again, is the clearest sign she's interested, trying to keep it hidden. This behavior is controversial because men often mistake it for disinterest. They think if she won't even look at me, she must not care. In reality, avoiding eye contact can be a form of self-defense. It allows her to manage how much she reveals while still keeping track of you from the background. The deeper reason behind this is fear of exposure. Women know that eye contact gives away emotions faster than words. A glance that lingers half a second too long can say more than an entire conversation. That's why she carefully controls it, giving you just enough to wonder, but not enough to confirm. Imagine you're in a group setting and you notice a woman who almost never meets your eyes directly. Whenever you turn her way, she looks down at her phone or pretends to be busy. But 5 minutes later, you catch her watching you from across the room just for a split second before she quickly turns away again. That cycle of avoidance and sudden glances isn't accidental. It's her way of staying hidden while still keeping her attention on you. The key lesson: don't take eye avoidance at face value. Look for the pattern. If she avoids eye contact and shows zero curiosity, that's disinterest. But if she avoids it only when you're aware, then sneaks looks when you're not, that's a woman battling her feelings and trying to keep them under control. 3. She talks to everyone but you. One of the strangest and most frustrating behaviors men encounter is when a woman seems perfectly comfortable talking to everyone else. Friends, strangers, co-workers, but goes quiet or distant when it comes to you. Most men instantly assume this is a bad sign. If she likes me, shouldn't she want to talk to me the most? That's logical thinking. But in female psychology, logic doesn't always explain behavior. When a woman is hiding her feelings, she often does the opposite of what you'd expect. She'll talk openly with others to distract from the fact that you're the one she's most concerned about. Around you, she may suddenly become quiet, hesitant, or even awkward. That's not because she dislikes you. It's because she feels more pressure around you than anyone else. This is controversial because men are taught to read direct engagement as interest. But here's the reality. The silence or avoidance of conversation is often a stronger sign of emotion than constant chatter around someone she doesn't care about. A woman has no problem being natural, casual, and free around the man she secretly likes. Her words don't flow the same way because she's overthinking everything. Think about it. When she's talking to other people, there's nothing at stake. She doesn't care if she says something silly or if the conversation falls flat. But when it's you, she becomes hyper-aware. Every sentence feels risky. Every pause feels too long. every smile feels like it might give away too much. So instead of taking that risk, she chooses the safer route, keeping her distance and letting you wonder. This behavior also ties into control. By avoiding direct conversation, she prevents herself from revealing too much emotion too soon. It gives her a shield, a way to hide behind casual interactions with others while keeping you guessing. It's not rejection, it's strategy. Men often misread this and walk away, assuming she has no interest. But in truth, many women hide their strongest emotions behind silence. They act as though they're uninterested when deep down they're fighting the urge to say more. The lesson here is simple. Don't assume her comfort with others means she's ignoring you out of dislike. In many cases, it means the opposite. If she's avoiding conversation with you while being completely free with others, it may be because you're the one she's most nervous about and the one she secretly cares about the most. 4. She creates distance to test you. Here's something most men don't like to admit. When a woman pulls away, many of you panic. You assume she's lost interest, and instead of staying calm, you either chase harder or give up completely. Both reactions reveal the same problem. You don't understand what distance really means in female psychology. When a woman is hiding her feelings, distance isn't always rejection. Often, it's a test. She wants to see how you handle space. Will you lose your balance the moment she stops giving you attention, or will you stay grounded and patient? Many men fail this test because they expect everything to be straightforward. If she likes me, she should stay close. If she doesn't, I'll move on. But women don't always operate that way. Distance allows her to protect her emotions while observing yours. She steps back to see if your interest is consistent or if it was only surface level. If you get frustrated, beg for her attention or lash out. You are showing her that your feelings are fragile and easily shaken. But if you remain steady, respectful and composed, you pass the test she's quietly giving you. This is where men need to wake up. Too many of you mistake a woman's distance for rejection and either walk away too soon or suffocate her with constant pursuit. Both extremes reveal insecurity. The truth is, a confident man doesn't panic when a woman creates space. He recognizes it for what it is, a chance to prove his stability. Women don't want a man who collapses under pressure. They don't want someone who only knows how to act when things are easy. They want to see if you can handle uncertainty without losing your focus. That's why distance is such a powerful strategy. It shows her who you are when you don't have her full attention. The advice is simple. Stop reacting emotionally every time a woman pulls away. Instead of chasing, overthinking, or shutting down, hold your ground. Stay consistent, show patience, and let her see that you're not shaken by temporary distance. That calm confidence is what separates the men who win respect from the men who lose it. So, wake up. Stop assuming distance is the end. In many cases, it's only the beginning, and it's your chance to show her the kind of man you really are. 5. She disagrees just to see your reaction. A lot of men think that if a woman disagrees with them, it means she doesn't like them. But here's the controversial truth. Sometimes disagreement is her way of showing interest without showing interest. Confused? That's exactly the point. Women often disagree not because they want to push you away, but because they want to test how you handle resistance. Think about it. If a woman agrees with everything you say, the interaction becomes flat and predictable. But when she challenges you, it creates energy. It forces you to reveal something about yourself. Do you get defensive? Do you shut down or do you stand firm, stay calm and hold your ground without losing your cool? This is where a lot of men fail. The moment a woman pushes back, many of you either argue aggressively or backpedal just to keep the peace. Both of these responses send the wrong signal. If you explode in anger, you show insecurity. If you fold too easily, you show weakness. Neither is attractive. Her disagreement is often less about the actual topic and more about your reaction. She wants to see if you can stay composed when someone doesn't validate you. She wants to see if your confidence is real or if it collapses under the slightest challenge. In other words, disagreement is a test of your emotional strength. Here's where you need to wake up. Stop taking her words at face value. Not every disagreement is an attack on you. Sometimes she's deliberately creating friction to see what kind of man you are. Can you handle tension? Can you stay respectful while still holding your own ground? Can you laugh it off and not take yourself too seriously? That's what she's really watching. The men who understand this don't get frustrated when a woman disagrees with them. Instead, they stay calm, respond with clarity, and even use humor to show they aren't easily rattled. That balance, firm yet relaxed, is what makes a woman secretly respect you even more. So the next time she disagrees, don't rush to change her mind or prove her wrong. Don't fold just to make her like you. Instead, see it for what it is. A moment to show her that your confidence is unshakable. Disagreement doesn't mean rejection. Sometimes it's her way of saying, show me who you really are. 6. She gives mixed signals as protection. One of the most frustrating experiences for men is dealing with mixed signals. One moment she seems warm, the next she's cold. One day she's laughing with you, the next she's distant and unavailable. It feels confusing, unfair, and even manipulative. But here's the controversial truth. Mixed signals are not always a game. For many women, they're a form of protect. Ion. A woman who hides her feelings rarely moves in a straight line. She won't simply say, I like you, and put her emotions on display. Why? Because doing so makes her vulnerable. It opens the door to rejection, judgment, or even being taken for granted. Instead, she uses mixed signals to stay in control while still keeping her feelings alive beneath the surface. This is where a lot of men get it wrong. They take every signal at face value and get frustrated when it doesn't match the last one. What they don't realize is that inconsistency is often the point. She shows interest just enough to keep the connection alive, then pulls back to protect herself. It's a cycle designed to keep her safe while still allowing her to explore how she feels. Men need to wake up to this reality. Mixed signals are not always about manipulation. More often they reveal inner conflict. She may genuinely like you, but fear moving too fast. She may be interested, but cautious about how much power she gives away. She may want you to notice her, but not at the cost of looking desperate. All of this creates the push and pull behavior that men interpret as confusion. Relatable, isn't it? You've probably been in situations where you thought you had her figured out only for her actions the next day to throw you off balance. That's because she's not only managing her feelings, she's also watching yours. She wants to see how you respond when things aren't perfectly smooth. Do you get frustrated and walk away? Do you overreact and pressure her? Or do you stay steady, patient, and composed despite the ups and downs? The truth is, mixed signals are less about confusing you and more about protecting her. Women use them to guard their emotions until they feel safe enough to open up. Your role as a man is not to decode every signal, but to recognize the pattern. Warmth followed by distance, closeness, followed by space. When you understand this, you stop reacting emotionally and start showing the stability. She's quietly testing you for 7. She acts busy but watches closely. Have you ever noticed how a woman can act like she's too busy for you, too focused on her own life or too caught up in other things, but somehow she still knows what you're doing? That's not an accident. When a woman is hiding her feelings, one of her most common strategies is to act busy while quietly paying close attention. Here's the truth most men overlook. Acting busy is a shield. It allows her to maintain control, to avoid looking like she's chasing, and to protect her emotions from being too exposed. By appearing unavailable, she creates the image of independence and self-sufficiency. But behind that appearance, she may still be watching, studying how you move, who you talk to, and whether you notice her absence. This is controversial because men are often told to believe what they see at face value. If she says she's too busy, you assume she doesn't care. But in reality, many women use being busy as a way of keeping their guard up. It gives them space to hide how much they're actually invested. Men need to wake up here. Too many of you fall into the trap of thinking she's genuinely uninterested just because she isn't constantly available. But if she always seems to know little details about you, if she reacts when you least expect it, or if she positions herself in ways that keep her connected to your world, chances are she's paying closer attention than she admits. This behavior also comes from a desire to balance power. Women don't want to appear as though they're waiting around for you, so they emphasize how busy they are, not to push you away, but to make sure they don't give everything away too soon. At the same time, their curiosity doesn't switch off. They watch from the background, gathering information and making quiet judgments about you. Relatable, isn't it? You've probably experienced moments where she seemed too unavailable to engage, but later revealed she knew things as you hadn't told her directly. That's not coincidence. It's observation. The key lesson here is simple. Don't assume busy means disinterest. Women often hide their attention behind the mask of a packed schedule. What matters isn't how busy she claims to be, but how closely she stays connected even when she appears distant. If she's watching, noticing, and quietly reacting, she's far more interested than she wants you to believe. 8. She uses friends as a shield. One of the most underestimated strategies women use when they're hiding their feelings is bringing their friends into the picture. To the untrained eye, it looks innocent. She hangs out with her group, laughs with them, and keeps her distance from you. But if you pay closer attention, you'll realize her friends are not just there for company, they're part of her shield. Why does she do this? Because friends give her protection. When she's around them, she doesn't have to face you directly, which means she can hide her feelings without looking obvious. Her friends become a buffer that allows her to observe you from a safe distance. It's less risky than standing alone and giving you a clear shot at noticing her emotions. This behavior is controversial because men often misunderstand it. Many guys assume that if she's always surrounded by friends, she's either not interested or she doesn't want to be approached. But in reality, sometimes it's the opposite. Being with friends makes her feel less exposed, while she secretly gauges your interest. Here's what men need to wake up to. When a woman uses her friends as a shield, it's not always rejection. It's strategy. She may want to see if you have the confidence to approach her despite the crowd, or if you crumble because you're intimidated by the social barrier. She's not only watching you, her friends are too. Women often share their hidden feelings with their closest friends, so don't be surprised if the ones surrounding her already know what's going on before you do. The shield also helps her manage control. If she likes you, she doesn't want to give herself away too quickly. By keeping her friends close, she can deflect attention, hide nervousness, and still keep you guessing. Imagine you're at a social gathering. She spends most of her time talking and laughing with her friends, barely giving you direct attention. You might think she's ignoring you, but then you notice her, friends glancing your way more than once, or nudging her when you enter the room. That's not random. It's her using her group as cover while keeping her interest hidden in plain sight. The takeaway is simple. Don't automatically assume her crowd means she's uninterested. Sometimes her friends are the wall she hides behind, while her real feelings stay protected. Pay attention to the dynamics, not just the surface. 9. She pretends not to care about your attention. One of the biggest tricks women use when hiding their feelings is pretending that your attention doesn't matter to them. You could compliment her, make an effort to talk to her, or even show signs of interest, and she'll brush it off as if it meant nothing. To many men, that feels like rejection. But here's the controversial truth. Sometimes the more she downplays your attention, the more it actually matters to her. Why would she do this? Because pretending not to care is a form of protection. If she reacts too strongly to your attention, she risks revealing her emotions. She doesn't want you to know how much weight your words or actions carry. By acting unaffected, she keeps control of the situation. Men often misinterpret this. You think, if she really liked me, she'd show it. But women know that showing too much interest too quickly puts them in a vulnerable position. So they train themselves to act unbothered, even when inside they're analyzing everything you do. This is where many men need to wake up. Too often you take her poker face as the final answer and walk away too. So on, you fail to see that indifference can be a mask, not the truth. Women pretend not to care because they want to see if you're consistent. Will you keep showing steady energy, or will you crumble the moment? She doesn't feed your ego. Pretending not to care also allows her to test your strength. If she ignores your compliment or brushes off your attention, she's observing whether you'll get upset or remain calm. If you react emotionally, you show her that her approval has too much power over you. But if you stay composed, it proves you're confident in yourself regardless of her reaction. Imagine you tell her something kind and she replies with a shrug or changes the subject. On the surface, it looks like she's not impressed. But later, you notice she remembers exactly what you said or subtly brings it up again. That's the giveaway. She pretended not to care in the moment, but the impact stayed with her. The key lesson here is simple. Don't be fooled by the act of indifference. Women hide behind it to protect their emotions and to test yours. Your job isn't to force a reaction out of her, it's to remain steady and understand that silence doesn't always mean disinterest. Chante. She hides respect behind criticism. Here's something most men never expect. Sometimes a woman who secretly respects you will criticize you instead of praising you. It sounds backwards, but it's one of the subtle ways women hide their true feelings. Instead of showing admiration directly, she masks it behind, teasing, questioning, or even pointing out your flaws. Why would she do this? Because open respect can feel too vulnerable. If she openly compliments you, she worries it might expose how much she values you. By criticizing instead, she keeps her emotions hidden while still engaging with you in a meaningful way. The criticism becomes her way of staying close without giving everything away. Men of 10 get this wrong. They take her sharp words at face value and assume she's disinterested or even against them. But here's the controversial truth. A woman who truly doesn't care won't spend energy criticizing you at all. Indifference is silent. Criticism, on the other hand, shows she's invested enough to pay attention and push back. This is where men need to wake up. Too many of you either get offended by criticism or take it too seriously. You miss the fact that it can actually be a sign of hidden respect. She's watching how you handle pressure. Do you crumble under her words, or do you stay calm, confident and composed? Imagine she tells you that your idea is stupid in a joking but slightly serious tone. Most men would either get defensive or shut down, but if you stay cool, respond with clarity, or even laugh it off without losing your ground, she secretly respects that. Her criticism wasn't about the idea, it was about testing your strength. The key lesson: don't mistake criticism for dislike. Sometimes it's her way of showing she values you enough to challenge you. Handle it with confidence, and you'll often discover that behind the sharp words is quiet admiration. Conclusion. Now, let me leave you with something very controversial. And I know many people won't like this, but it needs to be said. Most men are blind to women's hidden signals. Not because women are impossible to understand, but because men are lazy in paying attention. Harsh, yes, but it's the truth. Men expect women to make things obvious, to hand them clarity on a silver platter, and when that doesn't happen, they complain that women are confusing. In reality, women are not confusing. Men are often unwilling to sharpen their observation and patience. Here's the shocking part. The very signs you think mean rejection may in fact be signs of interest. The coldness, the criticism, the avoidance, the mixed signals, they're not just random games. They're shields, strategies, and protections. And if you've missed them in the past, it might mean you walked away from someone who actually cared about you more than you realized. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced these behaviors? Have you thought a woman didn't care only to find out later she actually did? Drop your story in the comments. I'll be reading through and reaching out to connect with you, because your experiences are not just stories. They're lessons that can help other men wake up as well. And here's where we leave it. If women hide feelings well, then the real question is, what about the times they don't hide them at all? What does it mean when a woman is obvious with her interest? That's what we'll uncover in the next